3 weeks ago, my parents stood up at their 40th wedding anniversary dinner and announced to 30 guests that they were taking the whole family to Hawaii. Everyone clapped. My sister squealed with excitement. I smiled, already imagining palm trees and ocean breezes, my first real vacation in years. Then I made the mistake of asking a simple question. What time is our flight? My father looked at me like I had spoken a foreign language. My mother's smile tightened, and in front of every guest in that room, my dad said, "You don't need to know, Wendy. You're not part of this trip. Someone has to stay behind and take care of the kids." 30 pairs of eyes, 30 witnesses to the moment my family told me I wasn't really family at all. But here's what they didn't know. I had a secret, one I'd been building for 3 years, and that night I decided it was finally time to use it. My name is Wendy Dixon. I'm 32 years old, and this is the story of the day I finally stopped being invisible. I grew up in a white colonial house in the suburbs of Boston. My father, Harold, retired 3 years ago from his position as a branch manager at a regional bank. My mother, Patricia, has never worked a paid job, but will tell you she's busier than any CEO, chairing the church women's committee, organizing fundraisers, maintaining what she calls the family's reputation. Then there's my sister Megan, 3 years younger than me, married to Derek, a corporate attorney, 2 kids, a brand new Lexus, and the prime spot in my parents' driveway. My Honda Civic, 10 years old, gets parked on the street. "Wendy, move your car," my mother would say. "Guests notice what's in the driveway first." I never questioned it. I just moved my car. That's the thing about being the invisible one. You stop noticing all the small ways they've already decided you don't matter. I work as a part-time accountant, modest income, flexible hours, nothing impressive by Dixon family standards, but I never told them about the other thing I do, the thing I started 3 years ago after my life fell apart. Let me tell you what helping out looks like in the Dixon family. Thanksgiving. I arrive at 6 in the morning to start the turkey. I set the table with my mother's Wedgwood china, the set I'm not allowed to use, only to wash. I arrange the flowers, polish the silver, coordinate 7 side dishes. Megan arrives at noon in a cashmere sweater, kisses everyone hello, and sits down to be served. Christmas. Same routine, plus wrapping all the presents my mother bought because her arthritis is acting up. Funny how her arthritis never stops her from playing bridge 3 times a week. Last year, I spent 8 hours running Oliver's dinosaur-themed birthday party while Megan got a manicure because she needed a break. The one time I asked to skip a family event for a client deadline, my mother's voice went cold. "Family comes first, Wendy. We all make sacrifices." Except I was the only one who ever seemed to make them. The breaking point came on a random Tuesday evening while I was scrubbing my mother's pot after another family dinner. I couldn't remember the last time anyone had invited me somewhere without expecting me to work. 3 years ago, my boyfriend of 4 years sat me down and said, "I love you, Wendy, but I don't think I'm in love with you anymore. You're just there. You're always just there, like furniture, like wallpaper." After he left, I wandered into a pawn shop downtown and saw it, a Canon DSLR camera, used but well-maintained, $180. I bought it with money I should have saved. I told no one. That camera became my secret. I started photographing people most people ignore. Elderly women at bus stops, overnight janitors, street vendors, people society looks right through, the same way my family looked right through me. I called the series Invisible Women. I created an anonymous Instagram account. No face, no real name, just the photos. Over 3 years, 12,000 followers, people who saw what I saw. I kept the camera wrapped in a cashmere scarf at the back of my closet. It was the only thing I ever kept for myself. There's one person in my family who actually sees me. Aunt Ruth, my mother's younger sister, the one my mother calls the family disappointment. She never married, followed her passion for ceramics, and 20 years ago moved to Carmel by the Sea to open a cafe with a pottery studio in the back. My mother hasn't forgiven her since. I've been calling Aunt Ruth every Sunday night for 7 years. My mother doesn't know. It was Aunt Ruth who first saw my photographs. I sent her one, just one, and her response made me cry. "Wendy, this is extraordinary. You have a gift." Nobody had ever called anything I did extraordinary. 3 weeks before the anniversary party, she said something that changed everything. "I sent your Instagram to a gallery owner I know in Monterey. His name is Marcus Pullman. He wants to discuss a solo exhibition." My hands started shaking. That was the same gallery that had emailed me weeks earlier, an email I'd been too afraid to answer. That night, I finally replied. Now, let me take you to the night everything changed. My parents' 40th anniversary. I took 3 days off from clients to help set up, hand-wrote 60 place cards, coordinated the caterer, pressed tablecloths, polished crystal, arrived at 7 in the morning in jeans because there was no point dressing up when I'd be in the kitchen for 10 hours. By 9 p.m., the house looked perfect. My mother caught me in the hallway, looked me up and down. "Just stay in the background. Today is about my father and me." I nodded. I always nodded. Megan swept through the front door at 7:15 in a designer wrap dress. My mother introduced her as the daughter with the attorney husband and the beautiful grandchildren. I circulated with appetizers. One guest asked if I was with the catering company. "Oh, that's Wendy," my mother said, appearing beside me. "My other daughter. She's helping out tonight." The woman smiled politely and turned away. My mother didn't notice. She never noticed. At 9 p.m., my father stood and tapped his champagne glass. "Hawaii announcement." The room erupted. I felt something lift in my chest. The whole family. That meant me, too. "That sounds incredible. What time is our flight?" The room went quiet. "Wendy," my father's expression shifted. "You're not going." 30 pairs of eyes. "Someone has to stay behind and take care of the kids," my mother added. "Megan and Derek need a real vacation. That means you'll watch the children." "Megan works hard. She deserves a break." Megan, who hadn't held a job since Oliver was born, who had a nanny 3 days a week and still complained about being exhausted. I stood there in my plain black dress, holding a dirty plate, while 30 people watched me be dismissed from my own family. One woman whispered to her husband. I caught the words. "Poor thing, she must be used to it by now." I set down the plate, set down the glass, smiled the smile I had learned after 32 years of being the one who helps out. Of course, I understand. But something inside me had finally cracked. Not broken, cracked, like a fault line shifting before an earthquake. Later that night, alone in the living room folding tablecloths, I opened my mother's laptop to send a client file. Her Gmail was still logged in, and there in the inbox was my name in a subject line. Hawaii arrangements, Wendy situation. I should have clicked away. I clicked anyway.
My mother to Megan a week before the party. "Keep Wendy here to watch the kids. She doesn't have anything important to do anyway. It's like having free help. She should be grateful we give her something to do." Megan's reply. "Totally agree, Mom. She'll probably feel useful for once. It's kind of sad, honestly, but at least it works out for us." I read those words 3 times. Free help. She should be grateful. Kind of sad. I took screenshots, emailed them to myself, cleared the browser history. Then I sat in my mother's dark kitchen and finally understood exactly what I was to them. I drove home at 1 in the morning, opened Marcus Coleman's email on my phone. I called Aunt Ruth. She answered on the second ring, even at that hour. I told her everything, the announcement, the humiliation, the emails. My voice cracked exactly once, reading aloud the words, "free help." When I finished, she said, "Wendy, I have a spare room above the cafe, and that gallery is 20 minutes from my place." "Aunt Ruth, I can't just—" "Yes, you can. You can leave. You can choose yourself for once." I hung up at 2 in the morning. By 6, I had started packing. 3 suitcases, my camera equipment, the cashmere scarf that had wrapped my Canon for 3 years. I left behind the world's best aunt apron. For the first time in 32 years, I was choosing myself. 2 days before Hawaii, I went to my parents' house one last time. "I have a work opportunity in California. I'm leaving tomorrow. I won't be available to watch the kids." Megan's head snapped up. "Wendy, you can't be serious. I'm counting on you." "You planned around me without asking me. I'm not canceling my life because you assumed I didn't have one." My mother stood, voice cold. "This is incredibly selfish. Family comes first." "Family comes first," I repeated quietly, "except when it comes to inviting me to Hawaii." Her mouth opened, then closed. For once, Patricia Dixon had nothing to say. My father cleared his throat. "If you leave, don't expect us to welcome you back with open arms." "I understand," I said, and for the first time, I meant it. The drive from Boston to Carmel by the Sea took 5 days. I didn't rush it. Somewhere in Nebraska, I pulled over at a rest stop and photographed a prairie sunset, my first shot as a free woman. When the Pacific appeared on my left, vast and endless and blue, I rolled down my window and breathed salt air. I cried, not from sadness, from relief, from the overwhelming sensation of possibility. Aunt Ruth was waiting on the porch when I pulled in. "Welcome home," she said, and for the first time in 32 years, somewhere actually felt like it. 6 weeks later, I stood in the center of Coastal Light Gallery and couldn't quite believe it was real. 15 of my photographs on the walls, a string quartet in the corner, champagne, 50 guests who came specifically to see my work. A woman named Mrs. Peyton, a major collector, had already bought the centerpiece of my exhibition, the bus stop photograph, the elderly woman with the face full of quiet dignity. $3,000. I was mid-conversation when the gallery door opened. Megan and Derek walked in, still sunburned from Hawaii. "Wendy, we've been so worried about you," Megan said, arms outstretched, loud enough for the room to hear. She looked at the photographs on the walls, the price tags, the red dots. "You did all this? Since when do you do this?" "Since 3 years ago. You never asked what I did in my free time." Then she leaned in. "Wendy, I'm pregnant again, number 3. I really need you to come home." Not congratulations on the exhibition, not I'm sorry, just I need you. I stepped forward and spoke clearly enough for everyone to hear. "Megan, I won't be coming back to Boston to be your childcare. You can hire a nanny. Derek earns enough. What you can't hire is me, because I was never paid." I gestured to the walls. "This is my work. I've been building this for 3 years while everyone assumed I had nothing important to do. Tonight, I've sold 4 pieces totaling $8,000. My work has value. I have value, and I will not throw that away to go back to being free help." Marcus started clapping. Aunt Ruth joined him. Mrs. Peyton raised her champagne glass. The room followed. My parents arrived 20 minutes later, my mother in her Burberry trench coat, my father looking old and out of place. When she started, disappeared, pregnant and struggling, selfish, I pulled out my phone. "Let me read you something in email you sent Megan before the party." My mother's face went white. "Keep Wendy here to watch the kids. She doesn't have anything important to do anyway. It's like having free help. She should be grateful we give her something to do." And Megan replied, "She'll probably feel useful for once." It's kind of sad, honestly, but at least it works out for us. The gallery went silent. "I'm not reading this to embarrass anyone," I said. "I'm reading it so you understand why I left. You didn't see me as family. You saw me as staff, and staff has the right to quit." For the first time in my life, my mother had nothing to say. They left. The gallery door closed with a soft click that echoed louder than a slam. Megan lingered, mascara smudged. "I didn't know you felt this way. I thought you liked helping." "No, you didn't. You didn't think about it at all. None of you did. I hope your pregnancy is healthy, but I won't be your free aunt anymore. If you want to be in my life, it has to be equal." She nodded, then she left. By closing time, I had sold 8 of 15 photographs, $14,000 total, $8,400 to me, more than I had made in 3 months of accounting work. Marcus handed me a business card from Mrs. Peyton, a private commission. A magazine cover feature was confirmed next month. In my clutch sat a check made out to Wendy Dixon, proof that I had never been nothing, not once. 2 months later, my life had a rhythm. Morning shift at the cafe until noon, afternoons in my studio, a second exhibition scheduled for spring. The magazine article came out in October, my face on the cover, the headline, "The Artist Who Learned to See Herself." Women reached out from everywhere. Women who had been the family helper, the reliable one, the one everyone forgot to thank. I thought I was the only one. You gave me permission to leave. My mother called once. I didn't answer. My father emailed. 3 sentences. "Wendy, I saw the magazine. I'm proud of you." That one I kept. Today, I sit in my studio looking out at the Pacific. The Canon camera from that pawn shop still sits on my shelf. Next to it is a newer model, one I bought with money I earned from my art. Both cameras matter. One reminded me to see. The other proved that people finally saw me back. I'm not rich, I'm not famous, but I'm seen. And that's enough. Here is what I want you to take from this story. Your worth is not measured by how useful you are to others. Setting boundaries isn't betrayal. It's the recognition that the people who truly love you will never ask you to keep pouring from an empty cup. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't fight back. It's walk away. Build something of your own, and let your life speak louder than any argument ever could. You deserve that. You always did. Thank you for listening. If this story stayed with you, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss one. And drop a comment. Have you ever been the one who always helps out, the one everyone forgets to thank? I want to hear from you. Until next time, let yourself be seen.